Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. My name is Aaron, and we're doing a second episode today. For those of you who listened to Paul Ivey's episode last week, we've still got him sitting here in the studio. And now, as a special treat, we've also got another longtime pal of mine, Mr. Alex Amato. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Paul Ivey and Alex Amato to the show, everybody.
How's it going, y'all?
Oh, yeah, I hear that crowd.
Paul's still
here.
Aaron,
now that I've been in this room for a week, can I go home soon?
He hasn't left.
Yeah, if you stay here for just a little bit longer, we can get you a temporary tenant pass or something.
Oh, perfect.
There's a toilet and a bottle of Bell Mead. That's all he needs.
Yeah, there's beer and whiskey. You should be set for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's been a good week.
Well, Alex, welcome to the
Thanks,
podcast
man.
studio here.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thanks for coming by today. So you just finished up
Absolutely.
a gig somewhere.
I did, yeah.
Where'd you play?
At Big Machine Tavern in Berry Hill. And
I've actually never been there. Is that the one across from Brothers Burgers? Or like right down the road?
Brothers Burgers, I don't know if I've heard of that place. But it's right there on Branford Avenue.
Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
like right across from Guitar Center there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool spot. I like it there a lot. And I've been playing with them for like a year and a half.
Oh,
maybe.
shoot, I didn't know that.
Something like that. Yeah, they're cool people. And
Are you doing
solid gig.
like mix of covers and originals when you're there?
It really depends, honestly. I mean, I tend to take the approach of I'm here to make money, so I'm going to play what the people want to hear, you know.
Good attitude.
Yeah, a lot of people love to play their music a lot, and I'm like, sure, get it out there. You know, if you have got a rapport with the crowd going and they ask for your original stuff, play it. But yeah, I just try to keep it upbeat and
Is that the actual distillery?
common.
Or is it just like a distillery?
I know
tap
the
room?
one in downtown is actually a distillery. Like
Okay.
they have all the equipment there, but I don't know if that's their only.
Gotcha.
Like they probably have some outside
Okay.
factory. I don't know. Ask
No,
the
I've
wrong
never
guy, but
actually been to. I've
It's
never
above
been
my
to that.
pay grade as a musician.
The only big machine I've been to is the downtown one. Yeah, that's the only place that I've been, and that one's on 3rd Avenue, like not far from the Moxie and the
Yes,
old.
sir.
Is that the Goo Goo cluster factory that's now closed?
I thought it just opened.
Did it just open?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay,
they've been working.
I
on
remember
it.
I remember seeing a sign on the door that said it wasn't open. So maybe it was to be open.
If it closed already, then that would be a
Maybe
world
maybe
record.
maybe I was just
Fastest.
behind the times.
You can just get him at Kroger's.
yeah, exactly.
Fuck it.
Oh my god.
So do you do these cover sets very often there? Do you have a pretty steady residency there?
Yeah, it's like a couple a week at this point. And it's good. I like it because, you know, obviously I do sound at night and whatever I can do during the day to just get some extra cash,
That's cool.
some extra flow.
So what I asked Paul at the very beginning of his first episode was, do you remember how you and I met?
Yes. I think it was at
'Cause
Belcourt.
I'm pretty sure all of my stories kind of bleed together. So how do you remember you and I meeting?
I think I was just at the show. I don't think we met in person necessarily.
It was Belcourt?
It was at Belcourt. I was hanging out. That was like my first time going to a tour stop show. And I think I just straight up was one of those guys that just hit you up on Instagram and was like, yo.
See, it's funny because I can probably go back onto my old email spreadsheet where people submit on my website, and I could probably find your submission on the website.
Oh, yeah, I might have done that.
I required everyone
So
to do
formal.
it back then, so I bet you're
Sent you my
on there somewhere.
my
Yeah,
EPK and, you know,
Paul.
Social Security.
Paul was grandfathered into the rule.
Yeah,
He was just a friend of mine when I started booking shows, so of course he got to be on them.
I didn't know you had to apply to be your friend, Aaron.
Right.
I get people asking, "How
It's
do
just
I
gotten
apply
too
to be on a
much, yeah,
show?"
you just-
And I'm just like, "You just come hang out, just like
Yeah.
period. Just come be there."
That
See,
was
I
the
totally
place.
get what you're saying about that, like hating, like when people kind of just like are too stiff about things and are like, put me on a show, do this. But I also get it too because it's like I did the same thing when I moved here. It's because, you know, I think people just don't want to come off like they're trying to use you
Too
or
hard.
something or like to, yeah, exactly. So
I
don't
think Paul
know.
and I have talked about that. It's like you don't want to be the person who wants it too much.
Yeah, it's
We've
a
talked
weird
about-
balance.
We've been talking about that about like girls. It's like you don't want to be the person who wants to go out with the other person more. It's like don't chase
You
the
wait
rejection.
5 minutes to text
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
and
Don't
you're-
chase rejection. That's my new.
Yeah, if they like you, they'll come around.
What's up?
I went on a date a few dates ago. I went on a date a few
dog.
days ago. Wow, maybe this bourbon's kind of catching up with me. I went on a date a few days ago, and I had a great time, and it was like it was going really well, and there was lots of eye contact, good vibes, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. The vibe changed really fast, and I all of a sudden felt like I was keeping her there. Like she didn't feel like she was.
Was she like looking around? Like
She
kinda, like,
she kept
gotta
looking at her
go?
phone, and
Yeah.
like eyes were dodging away, and I was like, this feels kind of this feels
You're
kind
free
of
to go.
uncomfortable. Yeah. So
Sorry to bore
I
you.
went inside and I went to the bathroom and closed my tab, and I came back out and I was like, well, thanks so much for hanging out tonight. I tried making it like very clear, like you're safe to go home. Like
That was the tour stop outro right there.
it's like
Thank you for hanging out.
I do not
tonight.
know what it was, but like the vibe was just.
It can happen, right?
Yeah.
It's like a switch. So how did it end?
I walked her to her car and I texted her saying a reference to something we had talked about because we had tried going to Pins to go duck pin bowling, and
Cute.
Pins was closed for a private event, and we ended up going getting drinks at a brewery downtown, and I was just like, well, maybe next time we can actually make it to go to Pins, go bowling. And she said, thanks, I had a good time. She didn't say, yeah, that sounds great, let's do that. So I was like, oh,
That's
okay.
rough. R.I.P. my friend.
It's like R.I.P. That's a recurring segment for when Erin Cooper is actually on the show. She is out today, but we always talk about our dating woes.
Shout out. Aaron
How
Cooper.
how we're both just terrible at it.
Oh God.
You sure there wasn't anything said that made it?
Yep. Someday
Awkward.
we'll.
It's just like-
I'm going to tell one of these stories, and then weeks and weeks and months later, Paul, you're going to be like, remember when you were shitting on your wife on how like how bad your first date was? That's something like that's definitely going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. We've been together 38 years now.
That's how it should be.
Paul, so do you remember how you and Al met? Was it just one of those Belcourt tap shows?
I pretty much think because he was doing sound. I think. Well, what did you do sound
No.
after Ben got canned?
So
Ben never got canned.
Well, I mean, Al. No. Aaron,
Oh,
Aaron,
by
Aaron,
Aaron.
He got
Aaron
canned from
Al.
my show.
That's
Okay,
what you
maybe
meant,
not that
yeah.
yeah, but Aaron
Right.
Al's not because he had this problem of showing up.
Yes, being on time. Alex is always early, which is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
If you're not early,
And that probably
yada
that's what I
yada.
probably
You know,
meant to
right?
Alex.
So yeah,
I think I don't know if I met you through Justin. Like the first day I moved here.
Justin
like,
Love.
Yeah. I
Shout
think
out.
I went. The first place I went was Live Oak. Why I don't know, but I just went there.
Did we meet
I
there?
think that was right before you started booking the show there.
I started doing shows there in January 2020.
Oh, then maybe you were doing a show there. I don't think it was your show though.
Okay.
But I think I saw Justin play, and I went up to him and I was like, "Oh, that's great, man! Loved it!" Like I was just freaking out, like being here. And he was telling me about his entourage of co-writers, which I think was you, Troy, and some other people. But I don't know if you were there or if I'm just like
Fabric
Oh, I
meeting
wasn't
the
there at that
Yeah,
meeting.
right,
I wasn't
it's-
there at that
I-
meeting. I can guarantee
you're
that.
about to find out. I have the worst memory known to man. Like I don't know if that's a product.
But somehow
of the
the stars
Greenbrier
lined
or
up.
the
We all
right
met.
exactly.
We all met. That's the beauty of our friendships of everybody. However it happened, somehow we got
Yeah.
right here.
My application went through, and then we
That's
were
right.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it all kind of bleeds together, and then we're just like, yeah. So we've been friends for years. I don't remember how any of that started, but I don't remember anything from the past 2 years. But like somehow we're all here together having
Exactly.
fun.
I think COVID put a weird spin on everything. It kind of erased a lot of time in between that and now.
Yeah. So Al, when did you start doing sound for Tour Stop? You were our house engineer at both of the Belcourt and Cabana venues for a long time.
It was either like December 2020 or January
Okay.
21. I think.
So it would have been around the time when you started, or that was around the time Cabana opened up, right?
Exactly.
Late 2020.
All right, then it was definitely a little
Christmas
earlier than
2020.
Because I had been doing Belcourt for at least 2 months.
Okay.
Then Cabana opened.
So it was sometime that fall of 2020 you started?
Right. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Man,
Good
it's
times.
so weird thinking about how Belcourt Taps, my first home, that's the place we met and place you and I, Paul, met, and like I realize now I'm pointing at you and people can't see that.
Yeah. Oddly enough, dude, that's the first place I came. I came here. What year was that? 2019 for that Bluebird Golden Pick
sweet.
thing.
Did you come do the open mic?
Yeah. That was the first month they did it. I think it was in 2019. And I came here and I was talking to Barbara Cloyd. She ran the open mic there. And
Shout out Barbara Cloyd.
yeah, and I was like, where do I go? You know, what's going on? I'm only here for a couple nights. And she was like, Belcourt Taps, that's where you want to be. And so the first night I ever came to Nashville, that's what I did. I was just hanging out at Belcourt. I remember distinctly seeing Tori Grace, Joel Jorgensen,
No way.
and Audrey Stevens.
So you probably you were probably at East of the Row. That was a Monday night show that used to run there.
Yeah,
And
that was,
Barbara
it was
used
right
to be
after.
involved with that.
Yeah.
Barbara Cloyd.
Yeah.
That was Joel Jorgensen's show.
So yeah, Belcourt was the second place I ever saw a writers round, and
It's a tremendous loss here in Nashville, losing Belcourt Taps.
It was like the
Shot to the heart.
linchpin. It was like
It was our clubhouse.
the hub of the wheel.
Yeah. And see, I know dozens, if not at this point, like hundreds of people who made friends there and met there, and that's where we got our feet underneath us.
It was a hang.
It was a
or out
hang.
from under us.
It was the grossest bar that we all still loved.
That's why.
Oh my
Because
God.
basically we're that kind of people underneath it all.
Right.
Just gross,
Underneath
animalistic.
I forget who I was talking to the other day about that, but it was something about how much it sucks that Belcourt closed, but also how it's probably a good thing for those of us who went there all the time. And it was I don't want to use the word incestuous, but it was the same people all the time, and we were we were a bubble. So its closure, unfortunately and fortunately, forced us to do new things. That safety blanket, that security net wasn't there anymore.
Right.
So for better or for worse, there's a lot of us doing things that we probably wouldn't have done if we were still.
You know, I just thought of this. You could get really fucked up there. It was like it was
You
there was
just-
freedom.
Bartenders.
There was a
is putting it
freedom.
lightly.
There was a freedom there, and anything goes. It's like whatever.
It's
We've
one of
seen
the
it all.
only bars in Nashville I've blacked out drinking
There
in.
you go.
Really?
That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Truthfully.
So the first time that ever happened was after a BMI rooftop party. Me and Paul went together.
Oh, those are great.
And so the BMI rooftop parties are usually up on their like sky deck patio, and they'll have a big stage. And the show that we saw that I'm talking about this day was Mitch Tenpenny and Maddie and Tay.
Oh, perfect.
It was an incredible lineup. But at these rooftop parties, they have free food, free booze.
Maybe we shouldn't be like saying this.
But
Join BMI.
the thing about this open bar is that like it's never a it's like when you go to a Golden Corral, it's not how much should I eat tonight, it's how much can I it's how much can I
Words to live
drink.
by.
And I'm convinced that night I had probably 8 gin and tonics.
Oh yeah.
And those shows are only 2 hours long, 3 hours long. So I had 8 gin and tonics, and then Tony Wolf drove me to Belcourt because I left BMI and went to Doghouse and had a beer. And then Tony wanted to go to Belcourt, and I asked him for a ride because I wanted to go to Belcourt. So that I was 9 drinks deep already. And I went to Belcourt Taps, and Alex White, friend of mine, I believe is who it was bartending. And
That was a death sentence.
he could tell I was already hammered. He looked at me and goes, "Hey, buddy."
Mischievous.
He's like, "Hey, buddy, what do you need?" It's like, and I slammed my hand down on that bar and he goes, "Hello, sir. I would like 1 alcohol, please." And he gave me a Long Island iced tea,
Hey.
which is 5 alcohols. And I woke up the next morning at someone's house. I don't remember how.
I bet you Alex White's face is like one that most people see before they black out. You know what I mean? Like the last memory for a lot of people is Alex White.
one of the coolest bartenders I've ever.
That guy is a living
cool.
saint. He's the best. Yeah.
But yeah, it's Belcourt was just one of those safe bars where
I'm saying
it's
freedom.
like it was the Wild West, man. There was no rules in that bar,
dude. I loved working there. Like, and Alex would be bartending. I'd be sitting back there just doing my thing, and you know, if there was nobody there or 100 people there, we had the same like little routine. And like, I'd order food. It would look different every night, even if you got the same thing, right? Like you'd get the tacos, but they'd be in a different orientation every night or different ingredients.
You're like, this chicken looks an awful lot like falafel.
You just never knew what you were going to get. But that's what the beauty of it was. Like,
it's a weird gamble that somehow you make work.
But it was always fire. It was always really good. You know?
The last meal
the
I had at Belcourt Taps, so the cook and I used to have this deal where it's just like...
Oscar?
I say what?
Oscar the cook?
It was Austin. Yes, it was Austin the cook. And he and I would, I forget what it was, but I'd buy him beer and he'd just make me whatever food I asked for. And then the last time he worked, his last day was, I think it was 1 week before our goodbye show at Belcourt. I asked him to cook me anything that makes your heart feel good. And he made me something he called diabetes salad. And it was French fries, chili, chicken nuggets, more French fries, and then it had shredded, like, pulled pork on top of it, more cheese, more chili, and I ate all of it.
Oh, you're sick.
You can't go wrong with that stuff, man.
I felt so bad the next day. But
you just throw it all together.
I felt so
Chef's
good.
kiss.
Man, that was one of those places is because what I never told anybody. I was like, I got a free tab there. So the food that I traded for, I'll buy you a beer, I'll buy you a couple beers, it was free anyways. So I just got free food and I got free booze. And it's because I was only making like $9 an hour there. So I didn't care.
How long did you do that?
It was.
Well, I know you started. Did you start there with Dirt Road Degenerates?
Yes. So Belcourt Taps started with Tour Stop in fall of 2018.
Oh.
And we got paid $0, but we were given $50 tab every week
per person.
So between the two of us, we got 2 beers each. Or 3 beers each or something. If we drank taps, we got 3 beers each.
$25 beers? Yeah, wait, what? What's that math there?
Between the two of us, yeah. So we were doing that. But then when the band broke up and the other guy left, we were left with like, hey, so I don't want this free tab anymore. It's like I need money, hard cash dollars to pay my electric bill. And then eventually just came to pass. It was just like, sure. We got, I think it was $10 an hour. So that was $60 a night was what I was getting. And it was just bullshit. So when they gave me the tab on top of it, I was like, I'm going to stretch this as long as it'll go.
Dude, speaking of electric bills, last night, so yesterday, we were at the listening room early in the morning. Mm-hmm. I woke up at like 8, which is like...
And who was it that we all went to see?
Sam Ferrara.
Amanda McCarthy.
Lauren Rose Thayer and Amanda McCarthy.
Tom, Lauren Rose Thayer.
Yes.
All our friends.
Chris.
Shout out.
Christian Veach.
Yeah.
And...
I don't know
the other girl.
I didn't know the other girl in the very middle.
But she was very good. Yeah, so we were there early in the morning. Waking up at 8 for me is like the equivalent of waking up at 3 in the morning for a normal person. So I just had a long day. I went to work after that, got home at like 1 in the morning at my new place in East, and I'm like just dying of hunger. The only thing I'm dreaming of all day is just go home and cook some food. And I turn on the stove. I'm just jamming out. Listening to some music, turn on the stove, move the pan, and the whole thing just like sparks up in a huge explosion. What? All my power goes out. I'm just standing there in the dark, and my boxer's like, man, what the fuck? Like
what the fuck just happened?
It took me a minute to regain my awareness. It was pitch black in there. I had to Hey Siri so I could see something, like so my phone would light up. And basically, I think our whole electric is just shot in this building, but I'm like, I don't know, man. East is something else.
Dude,
so
that sucks.
Just because you
When the only thing you want is to just go eat.
Exactly. I was so tired, so starving, and my apartment just decided to explode.
What time of the day was it?
It was 1:30 in the morning.
So you can't
no
even
one can
call.
come and help you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm walking around with a candle, like it's Handmaiden's Tale or some shit, and I'm like,
I just want to picture Alex walking around with one candle.
with a
and just be
candelabra.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to cast a spell on you, or eat some chicken nuggets, whichever comes
on
first.
a dark desert highway.
Literally. I was like, well, at least I have some tequila here, but it was just a shit show, man. I mean, it's a big difference moving to a. It's not like janky or like bad. Like I like the apartment, but like moving to a complex in East versus like coming from Germantown is just like
Yeah, you both used to live
way
in
different.
Germantown.
Where did you live in Germantown, Alex?
one metro.
Oh, cool.
He lived
Metro
in
Center.
the building up by all that stuff that's going up around the Nashville Chomp Crew or whatever, the Chew Crew. He lived up on that hill right there where all those new buildings are going up around the river.
And you decided, because what happened? Rent?
Your rent
Oh,
skyrocketed.
they raised the rent for us by like almost $600.
That's absurd.
How can they legally do that? But they
I
can't.
know.
Yeah, that's
they
absurd.
can. It was our first year. I was like, I don't think they're gonna raise it more than like. I was like, if they raise it 200, we can do that. Fine. But $600.
$600.
That's a big
That's
deal.
a
That's
fucking lot of money.
That's a lot.
So we've got a place now that's I think 300 more square feet for the same exact price.
Wow.
That's what we were paying there.
You have more room. You have half as
But the
much
f-
more room than.
Right.
So my condo that I bought last year is only 602 square feet.
Seems bigger.
For $1 million.
$1 million. It's so fucking small, but man, it's like
It
even though
seems bigger, actually.
it does because that living room's got that nice vaulted ceiling.
Or maybe
that's
that's
the only reason
Vertical
it feels
space.
big.
The most important space.
My kitchen is hardly big enough to have two people inside. It's like with me, I'm still bumping into shit by myself.
Yeah. Oh, my kitchen is like, you touch one cabinet here, you touch one cabinet there. That's the whole width of it right there. Like, it's a
So-
closet, basically.
Let's all talk about our first apartments that we remember. Paul, what was the first apartment you moved into adulthood that was like your place? Not one you shared with your parents or something, but like if you had other roommates, like your first place.
As I recall, it was a small box. It was just a square room. There was no
Was
rooms.
it was a studio?
Yeah.
This is in California?
Yep. This was in California on Clark Street, and it was just a square room. It had a bathroom.
Did it have windows?
Yeah.
You had to think about it.
I mean, that's a valid question. It's California. You never know.
It did have a window, as I recall, and a door to get in.
You're like, it didn't have a door. I had to crawl out one of the windows.
It had a door to get in. And I don't know.
Do you remember how much it cost?
Oh God,
$85 and a shoe.
I was gonna say like 180,
my
$200. I don't even remember.
That's fucking crazy.
It was crazy. It was, but here's the funny part: as human beings, we adapt. We adapt. I've lived on a sailboat. You know how small that is.
What?
Oh, no way.
I didn't know that.
You just
Tell that
adapt,
story.
man. You just adapt to what you have. You know, you get rid of possessions. You know,
Yeah.
you just don't. Like I was talking to this lady the other day. She goes, "Well, how do you ground yourself?" And she goes, "I need my house. I need my world." And I said, "Well, let's see. I've got God and a couple of clothes." And couple guitars. I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't feel like I'm missing anything. But
I was talking to my dad about that
I
the
don't
other
have a
day
lot of
because
shit.
my dad spent a week with me after I had my surgery on my ear, and he was sitting on my couch and we were watching TV, and it's just silent. It's like 3:00 in the afternoon, and he just goes, "Hey, Aaron." I was like, "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "You really don't have that much stuff." I was like, What? He goes, "Well, I mean, you got your skateboard and your guitars and a TV, and you got like a couch." It's like-
Exactly.
I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Like, you don't have things." I was like,
I got everything I need.
I don't have stuff.
Nothing that I don't.
And that's really
Did you just clear out?
I just loaded my car up with what I could carry, and I drove here. I didn't have a U-Haul. I mean, I just showed up. You know, I don't know. You adapt as a person. Whatever whatever comes your way. You just
Paul
make
living
it,
in a fucking sailboat.
You make it
man.
work.
Dude, so do you sail or were you just
No,
a stowaway?
in
or
LA,
something?
I sailed a lot. I had a sailboat.
All right.
You're a boat guy.
That's
I
sick.
love boats. But
That sounds
I have
dope.
a saying: boats make life happier. And back in LA, I had a sailboat. We would sail to Catalina for the weekend. It was
Catalina wine mixer?
It's just a
Catalina wine mixer.
I want to make bank, bro. Sorry, go ahead.
it's an island. It's an island
Yeah, I know.
in the water,
It's an island in the water.
and we would just sail there and just pretty much do exactly what we do here, except
Just on the water.
just with water around you.
Oh my god. Okay,
That sounds
so
like a
So you just
dream.
adapt.
Paul
whatever.
lived on a boat. My first apartment was with 3 other dudes, and it was technically a duplex. And we never met our neighbors, but we had a ground level, technically front porch, but it was the back porch because you couldn't walk up to it. It was fenced in the whole way, but it was a duplex. It was 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And we had a laundry room. It was fucking huge. It's honestly the biggest place I've ever lived. And it was $287 a month,
Bingo.
which is bonkers. Thinking about my first apartment in Nashville, a 2-bedroom was $900, and my first apartment in college was $1,000 or $1,100, split 4 ways.
Oh well,
It was-
yeah.
So that was in 2016?
That was 2013 when I moved into that place.
Were you a freshman?
I was a sophomore when I got
Okay.
my first apartment in
sounds
college. But that place was so it was so fucking ratchet. I killed 6 mice in my bedroom. One of them by hand.
You strangled it.
Paul Ivy, I do not mean to sound like one of these making a murderer, killing animals first guys, but a mousetrap caught one, and the mouse was too big to break its neck
That's
with
gross.
the
It
snap
just
trap.
flexed its neck and broke the
All
mouse.
it did was trap it. All it did was trap it. So I put it in a bag.
finish the
it was
job.
still squirming around, and I walked out to my dumpster, and I went whack, whack,
Oh,
whack,
hey.
and then the bag went still.
Yeah,
It's one of the most
That blood is
traumatizing
still on your
experiences
hands,
of my
isn't it?
life.
Yeah.
But I was like, you're invading my personal space, and I need you out of my home.
The
And
penalty is death.
if I let that thing live out of the dumpster, it was gonna find its way back into my apartment, because 2 years after we had lived there, moving out, all the shit's gone. I found the hole in the wall, just like Tom and Jerry,
Yep.
where that bitch was coming through every day. God. So $287.50 was my first apartment's rent, and it was so fucking gross. Like the bathroom, if I stood up tall, so I'm 5'10". If I stood up tall, the ceiling of my bathroom was maybe a solid 6 inches above. Like the bathroom was maybe 6'5". Like it was so small. The only reason my tall friend didn't live downstairs with me is because he was 6'3", and he had to literally crook his head to stand in the apartment bathroom.
That's funny.
So, yeah, that was my first, I'm liberated from my parents' house.
I think I got you beat, dude. I mean, I lived in a dorm for 2 years, and then a couple of friends that I had met in college, we decided to get a house, and it was a duplex. Where I went to school is in the middle of nowhere. It's a farm area, but it's its own little city. And there's a bunch of a lot of rich people that go to school there.
Right.
And so the first day move in, you'd see people from Asia, dropping off their Aston Martins, but buying up all these expenses. So the real estate's just really high. I think an apartment there
Where was it? You went to school?
$2,000. It's in the middle of nowhere, Western Massachusetts.
Okay.
So UMass Amherst. It's called Amherst. That's the town. But so we have this duplex. And in our half, we've got 8 dudes living in 6 rooms, and it's maybe like 900 square feet. 8
So
guys.
That's pretty fucking small.
Right. There's like 1 counter, 1 sink, 2 tiny bathrooms. Same thing. We had mice all over the place. I think I had like a nasty ass futon that I had for like years. That was.
Yep.
One night the guys were just like so drunk, like jumping all over the place. Broke one of the legs on the futon. We went in the basement and found like a cinder block that was the perfect size to hoist up our futon.
There we go.
Right. So like
You adapt.
you adapt.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying.
Full circle. It was the most ratchet shit I've ever dealt with in my life. Like we had roaches in the sink and like beer cans everywhere. There was no food in the house, just bags of chips laying around. And
Do you ever think about what it's like to be a? So Paul and I, we're bachelors. You've got a person, but have you ever thought about what a bachelor's fridge looks like? It's just there's like some loose beer, and then some cheese, and then there's a can of fat that you've never gotten rid of, but for some reason you're like, I might need that.
Don't forget the salad that's kind of brown.
unless you're like one of these TikTok bachelors that's just like got their life all together, you know, and they're like,
Dude, the fridge at my place, like I try to make it look like it's not just some sad single dude's refrigerator, but it's like, oh, well, that broccoli is definitely rubber now.
Aaron, do you remember when you were buying those cook-it-yourself meals?
Oh yes,
You were cooking
freshly.
Hello
like
Fresh.
Hello
Yeah,
Fresh.
Yes, I did Hello Fresh for a while.
and you couldn't eat fast
This
enough.
hashtag this is not an ad.
He couldn't eat fast enough, so he would bring his shit over to my house.
Yeah, I did
and
that.
Started cooking food. I'm like, dude.
It's like they say
home.
they let when you sign up for it, it's like you get to pick how many people you're cooking for, and I was like 1, but the minimum order was 2, so I would get like 3 meals a week, and then I realized that you're getting enough food for 2 people's meals 3 days a week, so I was getting like 12 people's meals a week, and I was like, shit, I was like, this is so much goddamn food, I can't eat all of
Can't eat
this
that fast.
So I was eating so much, so fast, and eventually I canceled it because it's just like I'm overeating, and it shows now because I had to buy
all
new
because of
I had to buy new
HelloFresh.
clothes.
Those bastards.
Well, hey, let's take a quick break from the podcast here. We'll take a commercial message from whoever our distributor believes is appropriate, and we'll come right back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. And we're back with the Nashville Tour Stop Podcast. Aaron Cooper is out today, so I am welcoming us back from the commercial message, and it's my distinct pleasure to have 2 of my pals here, 2 of my longest time friends, and in the
it's
studio
3
here today
now,
we've got
but-
Mr. Paul Ivy and Alex Amato.
Thank you very much. And Sean Livingston here in the background.
So off mic, and what you might have just heard is my friend Sean Livingston, who you heard on the podcast maybe 6 or 8 episodes ago. We had Sean and Coley and Dylan and everybody on, and we just had ourselves a good time chatting. It was a whole mess of a day, but
Nice.
that is beside the fact. But since we've just got a few minutes left here on the show, Alex, would you tell us about what's coming up for you here in town? Because I know you gig a lot, you do sound, you're an artist in your own right. Tell us what's coming up in your
man.
world.
We got some new music coming out. It's been a long time in the making. I haven't been playing, like, I haven't done a tour stop in who knows how long, and playing, writers rounds in a while, and that's, I've just kind of been in this break mode where I'm making money and reinventing and stuff, and I'm learning how to produce. I'm producing all this new stuff that I'm going to be putting out in the next couple months.
Sweet. Are you self-producing everything then?
Yeah, everything's self-produced,
That's cool.
engineered, mastered, and everything. So that obviously took a long time to figure out and find what I like to do, but it's going to be all in a very like pop vein. I got a new song coming out called Leave You Behind on August 5th. First
Leave It
Friday in
Behind.
August. Yeah, Leave You Behind.
Leave you behind. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. And I'm super excited about it. I feel like I need to get some of this stuff off my hands, you know.
What
when
was
you've been,
the last single you put out called?
It was Honky Tonk
That
Dream.
was Honky Tonk Dream?
Yeah.
So what's funny about Honky Tonk Dream is I believe it was April 1st of 2021. That was last year. We did a show for Tour Stop where everyone, for April Fools, traded songs. And
yeah.
and I played Alex's song Honky Tonk Dream, and it was really fun. We didn't end up getting to do one of those this year because our show on April 1st got canceled. But like that's a fun thing, just getting to cover your friends' songs. It's like it's cool getting to hear somebody else sing something that you do, and just be in the world of somebody else. Because like singing Honky Tonk Dream, like I love like classic honky tonk country kind of music, but I don't write that kind of stuff very much. So hearing Honky Tonk Dream, which is very much that like 6/8 swing, is cool.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
cool
I
getting
love
to do
that
new
song
stuff
a
like
lot,
that.
and I wrote it a long time ago. But I've been kind of indecisive about. Like I realized, you know, I've only been here for 2 years, and I feel like I was trying to kind of find my direction a bit. And I loved country music, but I think I realized that that's not necessarily where I'm going to be long term. But I do love that song, and I guess at this point, I think it would be cool if somebody else wanted to record that. That was like, because I don't want it to.
That'd be a great cut.
Yeah, I don't want it to be nothing. You know, I don't want to take it down and
Another
have it
night in the
disappear,
spotlight in the corner of the bar.
Yeah, it's a country song.
My fingers are hurting.
I've never heard it.
I still have all of those. I still
You've
have
definitely
all of
heard it,
that
Paul.
song memorized.
In the bar, at least. I played it a million times.
It's a great song.
Whoa.
Hey, yeah. Well,
Paul, I guarantee you'd like it.
No. The concept of honky tonk, I just love that. Whatever that represents, I don't know. We all know what that means.
Right.
Bars and country music. The honky tonk is a thing. I'm thinking that's like a Nashville. Well, everywhere. But I played in honky tonks. They're everywhere. You don't have to be in Nashville. I mean, played in plenty of honky tonks in L.A. and I just like that vibe of working people just getting together at just like Belcourt Taps.
That's a great point.
And just drinking
it's a good
and
vibe.
and just letting energy out.
Cheap beer, let it out.
Yeah, just have a good time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great place to close off here. So, Alex, tell us where we can follow you on the internet, places we can interact with you, social media, etc. Where can we find you?
I am at Alex Amato Music on Instagram and TikTok.
Hashtag.
It's still weird saying that now.
I know.
You
I'm
tack
still
it
not
on
used
to
to
the
promoting
social media
TikTok.
list, right? And then it's Alex Amato Official on Facebook because music was taken, I guess. But yeah, so those are the places.
And new song coming out August 5th called
August 5th, Leave You Behind. Keep
That's
your
awesome.
eyes open.
And you can go hang out with Al at Big Machine or any of these other places that he plays when he's doing cover songs. You can give him all of your money.
Yes, please do.
Paul, where can people find you on the internet? Where can they find you in real life?
Paul Ivy Music at Instagram, Facebook, of course. In real life, I always post where I'm playing, and Reverb Nation, and let me just give you my phone number real quick.
It's 867-5309.
800-666.
1-800.
Y'all, thank you so much for listening to the podcast today. My name is Aaron. Make an edit there. My name is Aaron, and I am the host here. Aaron Cooper is out for the week. You can follow her at On Air with Aaron. You can also listen to her on The Air with Aaron, Hot 106.7. Monday through Friday, I believe, beginning at 6 p.m. But you can follow me on social media at The Aaron Schilb and on TikTok at Aaron Schilb. I don't actually know how I messed up my handles there, but it happened. But you can keep up with Nashville Tour Stop on all platforms, Nashville Tour Stop. But more importantly, come to our shows. Come hang out with me and Paul and Alex and Sean and Will, silent producer right here. He gives us a fist bump right there in the air. But we are all over the place all the time. We've got more new venues that are going to be coming out. I can't make public announcements about those quite yet. But there will be more stuff coming out here in the next few months, so keep up with us at NashvilleTourStop.com. But until then, from all of us here in the studio, please do remember that all roads lead right back here to the Nashville Tour Stop. Yeehaw, motherfucker.